On the day of Pentecost, the promise of the Father came to pass, that he had promised from the prophet Joel to pour out his Spirit upon all flesh. Not only that, but that answer to Jesus' prayer had come to pass, that Jesus had prayed the Father that he would send another comforter. In the book of Romans, we learn that it's the Holy Spirit that adopts us into God's family. He says in chapter 8 and verse 9, "But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if so be that the Spirit of God dwell in you." Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he is none of his. Can you notice how the apostle uses interchangeably the Spirit of God and the Spirit of Christ? Because he's the same. What we're talking about is one God who exists in three persons, the idea of the Trinity. And so he says, "And if Christ be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the Spirit is life because of righteousness." If Christ, who is righteousness, lives in you, then you have righteousness in you. "But if the Spirit of him that raised up Jesus from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Christ from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his Spirit that dwelleth in you." It's the Spirit of God that's going to bring about the resurrection of the body. "Therefore, brethren, we are debtors not to the flesh to live after the flesh. But if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live." This is one of the works of the Holy Spirit in us, to mortify the deeds of the body, the sinful deeds of the flesh. And so we have this battle going on between us, the flesh versus the Spirit all the time. And the Spirit mortifies or puts to death the deeds of the flesh. He says, "For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God." Now, what an incredible reality is that, to know that you are a son of God, adopted into God's family. Now, ladies, don't let that bother you. Obviously, it means to be a child of God, but an adopted son has absolute full inheritance rights right along with a natural born son. And so he uses the term son instead of children. He says there, "For ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear." You see, that's the situation that we were in before we were saved. We were in bondage. We were in bondage to death and to sin. But he says, that's not the spirit that you've received. "But ye have received the Spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may also be glorified together." Can you see what he's saying? He's saying that when you are born again, the Spirit of God comes into you, and you receive the Spirit of adoption. You become a child of God and a joint heir with Jesus. So he has sealed us with the Holy Spirit of promise. He has been the earnest or the down payment of the resurrection of the body. And he helps us to realize, he brings the reality that we are children of God, that we have this spirit of adoption, that we have come from the family of Adam, and we have been brought into the family of God, and we are an heir with our big brother Jesus. What an incredible reality the Holy Spirit brings into the life of a believer. I hope that you know Jesus. I hope that you have a relationship with him, and I hope that you understand just how important the Holy Spirit's work in our life is. As verse 14 said, "As many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God." The Holy Spirit leads us and guides us through our life as we follow Jesus. So let's follow him. God bless you. Have a great day.